First item on the agenda, any public comments or questions concerning today's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to number one. Motion to approve the March 4th, 2026 agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion to approve the February 18th, 2026 meeting minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the February 25th, 2026 conference minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve payment from the general fund to county bills in the amount of $499,992.95.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve payment from the debt service funds in the amount of $2,810.24.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve payment from the Act 8 fund in the amount of $2,184.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve payment from the liquid fuels fund in the amount of $2,800.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Under personnel, motion to acknowledge receipt of a letter from Warden Lowe advising that he is created with prison board approval an additional full-time sergeant position at the correctional facility.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to acknowledge receipt of a letter from Warden Lowe advising that he has promoted the following individuals with prison board approval from the position of correctional officer to the rank of sergeant retroactive to March 1st, 2026. Brent Shorter and Kyler Renning.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to acknowledge receipt of a letter from Warden Lowe advising he has hired the following individuals with prison board approval as full-time correctional officers at the correctional facility for a 40-hour work week effective March 16, 2026 with benefits after 90 days. Patrick Kalolewski, Ray Polhill, Luis Torres, Antonio Valle, Jaden Rivera, and Nicholas McKee.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to acknowledge receipt of a letter from Warden Lowe advising that he is hired with prison board approval Angela Derova as a full-time food production supervisor at the correctional facility for a 40-hour work week effective March 16, 2026 with benefits after 90 days.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to recess the commissioners meeting to hold a salary board meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
The salary board, motion to convene the salary board.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the February 18th and February 25th, 2026 salary board minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion to set the annual salary of the following individuals at $89,536.79, retroactive to March 1st, 2026, due to their promotions to the rank of sergeant. Brent Shorter and Kyler Renning.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion to set the hourly rate of the following individuals at $27.01 per hour as full-time correctional officers at the correctional facility for a 40-hour work week effective March 16, 2026 with benefits after 90 days. Patrick Kalolewski, Ray Polhill, Luis Torres, Antonio Valle, Jaden Rivera, and Nicholas McKee.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion to set the hourly rate of Angela DeRova at $20 per hour as a full-time food production supervisor at the correctional facility for a 40-hour work week effective March 16, 2026 with benefits after 90 days.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion to increase the hourly rate of the following individuals to $29.26 per hour effective March 10, 2026 due to the terms of the agreement between Pike County and AFSCME District Council 87 for the completion of 1 year of service as correctional officers for the correctional facility. Douglas Badudowski, Michael Knight, Michael McNichol, and Jonathan Ozona.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to increase the hourly rate of the following individuals to $32.64 per hour effective March 18, 2026 due to the terms of the agreement between Pike County and AFSCME District Council 87 for the completion of 2 years of service as correctional officers for the correctional facility. Matthew Machado, Andrew Wesolowski, and Evelitza Pavone. Do we have no difficult names? Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion to increase the hourly rate of Preston Hagen to $34.89 per hour, effective March 28, 2026, due to the terms of agreement between Pike County and AFSCME District 87 for the completion of 4 years of service as correctional officers for the correctional facility.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion to adjourn the salary board.
Motion.
Second.
And the second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to reconvene the commissioner meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Under new business, motion to approve the battery replacement quote from Kingsley Power Systems.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to execute the title
It's like 14, 19.
19 grant agreement on behalf of the Area Agency on Aging.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the Scranton Master Agency Agreement on behalf of the Juvenile Probation Department.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to execute the Act 148 second quarter fiscal year 25-26 certification statement on behalf of the Children and Youth Services.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the CorPro annual service agreement on behalf of the correctional facility as recommended by the prison board.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the ICE agreement modification on behalf of the correctional facility as recommended by the prison board.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the Viapath Amendment Number 9, the Inmate Telephone Incorporated vending agreement on behalf of the correctional facility as recommended by the prison board.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the chairman to execute the Woodworks Construction Agreement on behalf of the correctional facility as recommended by the prison board.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following human service payment vouchers on behalf of the Office of Human Services Homeless Assistance Program in the amount of $847, Human Services Fund in the amount of $1,230, and FAIR in the amount of $993.16.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Program payment voucher in the amount of $50,000 payable to Silver Birches Resort within the Settlers Hospitality on behalf of the Office of Human Services.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program payment voucher in the amount of $1,322.50 payable to Silver Birches Resort within Silver Settlers Hospitality on behalf of the Office of Human Services.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Number 12, motion to approve the fiscal year 2025 fourth quarter payment from the Pike County Emergency Medical Services Matching Grant Fund to Delaware Township in the amount of $53,750. Dingman Township in the amount of $87,200. Green Township in the amount of $1,075.29. Lackawaxen Township in the amount of $82,000. Lehman Township in the amount of $89,180.46. Matamoros Borough in the amount of $7,210.50. Milford Borough in the amount of $10,000. Milford Township in the amount of $15,000. Palmyra Township in the amount of $64,508.77. Porter Township in the amount of $8,228.52. Shahola Township in the amount of $24,500. And Westfall Township in the amount of $28,021.24.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. So the last motion, just so everybody's clear, that is the funding, the fourth quarter. That totals in the round number of $470,000 that has been sent to the county to our EMS services in the county. So you know, this is a robust ambulance services that we have in the county, and part of it is because of the funding that comes from the county to share with the townships. You know, I don't want to bring it, but just giving you an example of how we needed to have such a robust ambulance. And again, it was a terrible situation at Belle Reve. I'm not bringing that up for any purpose except for the fact that when they needed to have ambulance services down there, everybody in Pike County responded to that, and we were able to have the resources to do that. That's what this brings to us in this county, is to making sure that we're all safe. You know, again, I'm not bringing up what happened there. That's a whole subject upon itself. But more importantly, because I asked our emergency services team that, who responded? Who responded was as far south as Lehman Township, because they needed, they moved, I don't know, what was it? I forget the number, 14 or 18 patients all throughout different hospitals. So I just want you to know that the money in my mind, and I think the Board of Commissioners agree, is well spent. It's your money, but it's well spent, and and of course, it's matched dollar for dollar by our municipal leaders in every township. So I just thought it's important, because it's a lot of money to see spent in one meeting, $500,000, and that goes out about every quarter, so it totals about $2 million. It's a little bit higher than that. It changes a little bit each year because of the millage rates, but more like 2.1 million. So I just thought that was important to point out. Okay, we move on to miscellaneous, and as we do every month or every meeting, we do the Penn State extension, because we are. And as you can see, I'm well dressed for Penn State. And with that, we'll go to, first off, we have a representative here from Congressman Bresnahan's office. Tyler, do you have anything you want to share to us? Or you're just here to?
Well, one of the biggest things is we discussed, Commissioner Osterberg, before the meeting, that's open for counties, municipalities, municipal authorities, but also in some ways nonprofits, is community project funding. That's where funding is directed, and it can be directed by the congressman through the appropriations process to projects that are important in the district. Recently, he was at Wallenpaupack High School with the announcing funding through that process, through last year's process, for the Wayne Pike CTC. We want to see projects go to important things like that. I think this process back in 20 years ago got a bad name because it was going to bad projects. I can only speak on behalf of Congressman Bresnahan, but he's looking for impactful projects. I'm meeting with the Economic Development Authority to discuss some projects that they have that they're interested in submitting. So for the municipalities, the nonprofits, it is a tight turnaround, and we get our marching orders from the Appropriations Committee for this. Projects need to be submitted to our office by March 6th, which is this Friday. So it's about a week turnaround time. But if anyone has any projects or any questions, please see me after the meeting.
I have a question. Is there a mailing list or something nonprofits could sign up for to get notified of these in advance? Or what would be the best way for folks to know well in advance so that they can prepare something?
And that's a good question. We tried to send it out to as many nonprofits that we know. We sent it out to all the community foundations. So I know the Pike County Community Foundation was one of those, trying to get it out. So again, we have a link on our website where people can sign up email wise, so that would be helpful for us, just to know if someone's interested, that we'll get that out to them.
So just so everyone's aware that the county was aware of this, is right? They just gave $3 million up there for the Career Technical Institute. There was also, I think, the last round, there was sewer money allocated towards Milford Borough and Matamoros to complete that project. We right now are putting in, I was speaking to you earlier in the meeting, so you've heard us speak about bridges and infrastructure in this county. We are, like every other county, in dire need for funding to help improve this infrastructure. 3 of the most important projects right now are dealing in Lehman Township. One of them is the Winona Falls Bridge Road, which links Monroe and Pike County. To give you an idea of the number on that, that is in the range of a $5 million project to be shared between the two of us. But also in conjunction with that, there are 2 other bridges that lead to that same area in Lehman Township. One of them being Creek Road and the other one being Sugar Mountain. And those bridges are in the range of about, for complete replacement, in the range of $9 million. So these are serious numbers that the county faces, and I know everybody says, well, you got the $5 registration fee money. Well, we do, and that's very helpful. And we're glad we did that a number of years ago. That generates like $450,000 a year. And we were able to augment that into a bond issue a number of years ago, which gave us an additional $5 million. So everybody's aware, $5 million doesn't go where it used to, okay? It's hard to believe, but it doesn't. And when you start to mess around with bridges like Springbrook Road, and the next thing you know, you're blowing through 1.8 million. When you pave a road and it's 900,000, I don't need to go on. You can just see this number evaporates fairly quickly. So we have put in to the Congressman's office. We have first put into multimodal with PennDOT. This is now back to Lehman, sorry, for $3 million to help offset that bridge that leads between Monroe and Pike. Now, it's a shared bridge, so the number I told you is 2.5 million to the county, 2.5 million to Monroe, but we still need more. So we are putting in for all of those funds I just mentioned to you, to the congressman, in a priority order, because we need to be realistic. We can ask for all this money, but we may not get it all. So we're putting it in 3 different tranches. So we're going to talk about, in the grant application, Winona Falls, then we're going to talk about Creek, and then we're going to talk about Sugar Mountain. And just for that reasons, because, you know, like everybody wants to think that, you know, if we just call Washington or Harrisburg, they're going to come up with a bag of cash and give it to us. Be nice, but that's not reality. So we appreciate you being here. We appreciate getting notified of this. It is a short turnaround. You can't blame him. You can't blame the congressman. That's Washington. You know, they put these things out and say, okay, get these into us, and you got to get them in 4 days. And believe me, our planning director down the hall here is not thrilled about that, but he's doing his job, and it will get submitted. So we appreciate you.
We have complete confidence in Mike.
We do have
Yeah,
complete
he has that,
confidence in Mike. Yep, and we'll go see him before you leave just to make sure he doesn't have any issues going on. I don't think he does. He's been around a long time. He's a seasoned veteran in doing this stuff, so he's always up against some timeline.
Before we move to questions, there's something I'd like to say, excuse me. Hi, Krista Caceres, Newton Township. I wanted to invite everyone in the community to join me next Friday, March 13th from 10 a.m. to noon for coffee with the commissioner. It is going to be just one-on-one stuff, want to get to know people, but kind of educate folks on what commissioners do, right? What are our roles and how do we benefit you? There are so many amazing agencies that folks can get assistance from, and I want to make sure that information is far and wide in Pike County. So please feel free to join me there. You can email me with questions or to rsvp@commissionercaceres@gmail.com. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to pressing public comment. All right?
Yeah, quick question, a couple questions actually. How much money was allocated to Matamoros and Milford Borough for the sewer project?
That I'm not sure on the top of my head. I can,
Was it 6
Let me look.
digits?
let me look and let me look right now and I'll tell you after that.
And is that allocated towards something specific? Because I know right now they're going through selecting an engineering firm to actually define the system. So it's going towards that or something else?
Let me look on that
Okay.
specific project.
The other thing I had was, you know, we go through the salary board stuff all the time, and you know, it just struck me today that the question I have is everything that's always on the salary board, is that accounted for in the budget?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, the one thing I did notice on the, and it should be clear on this, all of these are replacement positions. There's no expansion here. The one that is the sergeant position. And the reason for the sergeant position being expanded is because I believe there's a personnel issue up there with a person who has that job currently, is out on some type of medical, because we can't get too far into who that is, right? But that is why, and at the prison board it was discussed, because normally we only have, without looking at the number, 2 sergeants or 3, whatever the number is, but we need to expand it because one of them is going to be on extended leave, and the correctional facility cannot operate having 1 sergeant down. So that's what's going on there with that expansion. But all the rest of these, I think every one of them on here is a replacement position. So they're all accounted for in the budget.
It's either replaced or needed, and there was a space in the complement, right, to add these additional officers, so.
Yeah, so it'd probably be good to know as you go through these, if they aren't replacement or if somebody else taking over, if it's something outside the budget.
You would hear that because you would see us say on here, we're creating a new position.
Okay.
And you see that on the one where we created 1 new position. You would hear that in there as we move forward if we're creating new positions. As far as the complement of the jail, that is built into the budget. I think we have
89.
89, and 89 is a complement in there.
Oh, we have 80, I'm sorry, currently, and 89 is the complement, my apologies.
Right, but the 89 is approved in the budget, right? But that's a difficult job. That's why every meeting, believe me, you see that 90% of what we're doing here is hiring people to fill those positions in the correctional facility, because it isn't a job for everyone.
No, I don't doubt that. I was just
So, no,
wanted
it's
to make sure
it's a
that
good
this is
question.
kind of about
We
this.
should add on here that these are replacement. I know at one time we did and somehow it got removed, but it should just be on there so that you're clear that these are replacement
And that's an
positions.
excellent question.
So the toss-up question, 10-point bonus, is what's the timeline looking like for the reassessment in Pike County?
Well, the reassessment is underway.
Mm-hmm.
They are out there doing, I believe, visual, and they're doing to check vacant land. They have not started yet to go onto property where people's homes are and doing all of that work of measuring properties and whatever else they need to do. That will be notified. Each township official will receive a letter telling them that we are in your township. They will do it township by township. But right now, I know I was just on the phone with them. Solicitor was on there also. They're driving the county and they're looking at vacant land. Now, what that means also is taking an inventory. They write up to a piece of vacant land, or it's on their sheet as being vacant, and it's not vacant, and there's a house on it. There's going to be a note taken, like, okay, we got to figure out how did this get missed. So, somewhat of an inventory done on that, and then those will be brought back to us as to what the process will be. To be honest, the process will be this. The homeowner will be notified that you never told anybody to put a house on your property. So how did this occur? And then the townships will also be notified, correct?
Correct.
Yes, because obviously they're not paying their fair share. And that's what reassessment is all about, is making sure that all of us are paying our fair share and no one's paying more and no one's paying less.
So wait, I just thought of one more, sorry. The Penn State Extension, is anybody here from Penn State Extension? No. That's unfortunate.
Now, they're up doing the AI seminar, which started at
Yeah,
10 o'clock, and they're doing the data center.
So I'll address that with them personally, because one of the things that stands out is that that session sold out, as you can imagine. I was interested in going myself. They should have offered this, in my opinion, as a Zoom option as well.
There is.
Well, I gotta tell you that the township supervisors didn't know about it. And they were trying to get there. I mean, it's important that the township supervisors get to these things and the planning board folks get to these things.
Well,
So why that didn't
Fred,
get out?
I just want to say this. These two events, the AI event was a suggestion from Matt. The data centers were a suggestion from me. We had a meeting with Penn State Extension in December.
Mm-hmm.
The immediate and the first thing was to create this for the municipalities so that they would have this
That's right.
information.
That's what it should be.
Invites went out.
Yes.
So again, the 2 o'clock session, I know for a fact, was strictly really geared for the municipalities and whoever else could make it. Then there's an evening event that was really supposed to be more for the community.
I guess.
We can't control when folks RSVP.
Right. No, I get
Yeah.
that part. But I mean, I looked at this as well and I sent it out in an email. Looking at the link, there was no option to dial in via Zoom. So I think that should have been made clear, because this way the township commissioners could have dialed in, planning board folks could have dialed in. And I'm hoping that they'll offer this again fairly soon.
I spoke
Not
to
just
Penn
one
State
session.
yesterday and I suggested that to them because I knew that it was sold out.
Yeah.
This was out there in the public. I don't know when that first meeting was with Penn State, but it was organized pretty quickly. So it was out there. And like I say, this is why people need to respond pretty quickly. That's what RSVP means, respond and get on the list because, but I know there is a Zoom link to it. And what the township officials should have done is call Penn State Cooperative Extension and ask them for it. Like I did yesterday.
They actually went through that. They tried to call several times and got nowhere.
So
All they were told was that the session is full.
So what we can ask, Fred, and I'll be happy to do that, is that there is either another event, it doesn't have to be a public event, maybe just a Zoom, that
Yeah.
folks can get on and get the same
I
information.
really think you should schedule another one of these events. I mean, this is a big deal.
Yeah,
As
agreed.
we all know, it's not going away, so, the townships and boroughs need to be prepared with their zoning.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, that's what we did. No?
Question for you. With the reassessment, is there any kind of tax deferment or anything that was related to the ICE use of our center when they made the original agreement? Do they get tax breaks for using that facility?
The facility doesn't pay taxes. It's a county-owned facility.
Because there's no,
So we don't pay any
they're not
real estate
government taxes
taxes.
involved, okay. Second one is, in the ICE modification agreement, I tried to go on it online and it's pretty heavily redacted. What is that for?
That's to meet the requirements of ICE, that they screen anything asked for, that they're gonna publish, they determine what we can and cannot include in it, and they tell us what they want out.
Okay, then that leads me to their memorandum of agreement, their 287G. Is there an opportunity to be able to understand the format of what's there? There's an awful lot in there where they have oversight over, they specifically state that they have oversight over, take precedence over our officers there. And so one of the things I wanted to do is, as you go through that, there's many questions. I don't know if this is the appropriate spot, if there's an update coming on that memorandum of agreement when it has to be re-signed, or if it does re-sign. There's a lot of information in there that was originally signed away, and circumstances have changed it. And I think it's really important that we understand, the community understand what's there and what's not.
Yeah, that's not an accurate statement, that we waived any rights concerning the.
If you read the agreement, the memorandum of agreement, it very specifically says that if there's an issue, they have oversight. Also, that all of the money comes from the county and then gets reimbursed. And so there's a lot of information there that may impact the county. And now what we're looking at with the number of people that we're paying in this county, that's our source of high-paying jobs. Is that really where we want to be going for this county? Is that our mode of operation, that one of our high-paying jobs be correctional facility? I mean, I understand it's historical, but there's an awful lot there, and as it expands, I'm worried about that concept. The second one is, in the woodwork construction contract for the facility, is that related to changes in the facility for ICE detainees?
Now, I had to do with a windstorm that tore the roof off of the sewage treatment facility. Yeah.
And the last question is, where were the women detainees sent? Where are they?
Wayne County.
Wayne? Thank you.
Yeah, just state your name, Bill, just so.
Oh, Isabel Smith, thank you.
So any other questions you have about this, you should put in writing, and we'll send them. I'm not gonna tell you I'm an expert on this stuff. Our warden certainly is. He's been doing, and as you've heard me say, he's been doing this a very long time. As my understanding is, the contracts are never changed over time. So pose your questions and we'll greatly answer them, but I would rather he answer them than me sitting here or because he knows this, okay? There is prison board meetings and we would send it to him, and we will see that the warden answers.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Just going back to Tyler, is there a link or something that you could give us where nonprofits can go to look to see what the grant is all about?
Yes, it's on our website. And to answer your question, 1.25 million was the amount. We do have a link on our website. It is bresnahan.house.gov, and in the top banner, there's a link for 2027 community project funding applications.
Anyone else? Okay. Motion to adjourn. Motion. Thank you all.